Hello, member of the Dope Soul Collective. How are you on this New Year's Eve? Well, I was finishing up, you guys, seriously? I was finishing up you guys' love readings before I fraternized with my friends and family and what's not or whatever to bring in the new year and what's not or whatever. But I felt super compelled to do a reading for the collective. I don't know what it is that's going to come out in this reading. I don't have any intentions one way or the other. But you know how I roll. I just felt Pisces energy, Pisces. How do you say this? Lapis lazuli, you know, for the Pisces that are watching. But I don't really know what's going to come out in Sagittarius and Tiger's Eye. I don't know what's happening right now. My intuition's on fleek, so I'm going to make the most of it. Listen to spirit and get her going. But I don't really have intentions for this reading. Only the highest good of those whose ears it falls upon. But I'm going to pull some cards and see what happens. And this is interesting for me at the fact that I felt compelled to bring my crystals into the mix. That's something I don't do too often anymore. I used to be a crystal fanatic back in the day. I would have them in my socks and my pockets and things. I don't want to necessarily say that I grew out of it, but I don't know. Evolution's funny. Certain things at one point in your process, and again, I don't even know where I'm going with this or why I'm talking about these things, but at certain times in your process, you will feel led to and compelled by certain things, certain tools, and so on and so forth. And then other times you won't. And then other times you'll feel that way again. So, I don't know why I felt so compelled to say that. But anyway, now I'm being OCD with it. But anyway, let's see what it is that is going to come out. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, collective. I don't know. Everything's all topsy-turvy. Taurus has a twin flame. Scorpio has people trying to procreate with them. Cancer's getting married and having babies and things. Like, what's going on? It's craziness. But anywho, let me go ahead and attune, because picking up on the collective, you only know what's going to happen, you know? So, thank you, Spirit. That I need to start with something else. This is going to be interesting. This is literally me with no plan and only doing what it is that Spirit says. Spirit says one deck of cards, then we're doing another deck of cards, but I'm just supposed to be picking the message out there. But anyway. Okay, so Spirit, please give me clear and direct guidance for the collective, Spirit. Anything that they need to know. Going into 2019, leaving 2018 behind, the year of tears, peril, towers, misery, and woe. And walking into the optimism and the bright light and the joy of 2019, the abundance of 2019, the power, the paying of the piper, and the Dope Soul Collective being the piper that is getting paid. Dreams being fulfilled, wishes being fulfilled, miracles happening, perspectives on life changing, ascending to different levels, higher levels of being and visions, and so on and so forth. All of us who are stepping into our callings this year, all of us who will be falling in love, some of us for the first time this year. Whatever messages are relevant to the Dope Soul Collective and the word that I can't say, the hayukas out there. I ask that all of those be made manifest in this reading, and I thank you in advance, Spirit. So, Spirit told me to pull a card from my deck of universal truths. So I don't know, what is this? Is this messages? Is this like sayonaras from 2018? I feel like we all kind of want to like jump 2018 on the slip. Did I just say 2016? What happened in 2016? I know what happened to me on 2016. Let me tell you a story while I'm shuffling my cards. Today, December 31st of 2016 was absolutely the worst, but now looking back, best, but at the time, the worst day of my life. I kid you not. Today, in 2016, was the absolute worst day of my life. It was. I got dumped. Since we're being all honest and stuff, I got dumped on New Year's Eve and then blocked on New Year's Eve. Can you believe it? That happened to me. I was so sad too. I don't even know why I'm being so honest with y'all right now, but it's relevant in the sense that I got dumped by the person who I literally felt at the time was like the end all be all for me. And I was so sad and like so broken that I literally, the place that I was on the floor when they called, right? And we're just like, I don't think we should speak to each other anymore, and then blocks me. Like, I literally sat on that place on the floor and like cried for like a whole day after that. Like, I didn't move from that spot. But the thing that's the craziest thing is when I did get up from that spot, I got up a different person. And why it was the worst day as well as the best day is because, unbeknownst to me at the time, when I stood up from that place, the very next step that I took was in a complete new direction. So it's as if that grieving that I did for that 24-hour period was almost as if that pain had killed off a part of my former self. And the person that arose from that place is vastly different than the person that I thought was vastly different before that. I thought that who I was at that time was as good as it got. But boy, was I wrong. And that's why no longer do I ever put limitations on myself or my growth. Don't know why I felt so compelled to tell you that, but it's going to help somebody. So yes, I got blocked and dumped on New Year's Eve. All right. I don't know why that card at the bottom of the deck is tinging. Spirit, look, we ain't going to be here 17 hours and things because, okay, I still got time before the new year comes in. I don't know. I don't know what time zone, y'all. Might be the new year, right? You have a new year. Anyway. Your mind is right now, this card came up for so many people in the yearlies. Your mind is right now filled with old thoughts. Not only old thoughts, but mostly someone else's old thoughts. It's important now. It's time now to change your mind about some things. This is what evolution is all about. A change of mind. It really is. When we think about the Eight of Swords and we think about a mindset and slowing down the words, a mindset, meaning static, stuck, Eight of Swords, homegirl, all up in the little prison of swords. Whatever your mind is set on is what you are grounded, rooted, and implanted in. It's what you're stuck in. It's what you are vibrating at. It's what you're producing from, you know? It's the essence of the tree and the byproduct being your proverbial fruit, right? So what is that? That's a scripture. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Hey, even the Bible says it, okay? Just saying. But truthfully, whenever we change our mind, with that being like the fertile ground from which we're producing our words and our actions, right? The fertile ground for our motives and everything. When you change your mind, you truly change your life. And this is the thing I've kind of been vibrating on all day, is I've been thinking about posting reflection questions, because, I always try to take stuff that seems all intangible to make it very tangible for you guys' benefit. And the thing I literally was thinking, I was pouring some juice in the kitchen, and I was literally thinking, I was like, man, introverts typically are, more innately self-reflective, but it doesn't mean that that an extrovert can't be self-reflective. You know what I mean? It just takes a little bit more effort. But of course, all of my downloads start as little things like that. And I was like, well, that's like kind of mean, because I know extroverts that are self-reflective. But that opens up into the fact of questioning your motives is the easiest way to begin to change your mind. It's becoming aware of your doings and your happenings and your thoughts. And that's something that is typically on autopilot in our lives, right? So more often than not, like, and I said this in somebody's video, Libra, I think, but more often than not, we are reactionary in our happenings, and we're justified in that autopilot reactionary state of being. If you ever want to have power or dominion over that, it's to force yourself to be aware. And at first it's very mechanical, it's very annoying, and a lot of times you may not even have the answers. So if we think about a person, if you constantly like complain, that's what made me think about cannot talk. I was say Libra. Is that a new sign? What I was saying with Libra was, like, if you have a habit of disaster thinking and complaining, and if something goes wrong, it's like suddenly everything is going wrong. It's the question of, why do I do that? And it's anything that you do. If you feel compelled to call up your friend and gossip about someone, asking yourself, why do I want to do that? Like, why? And it sounds so cray, but I literally did this to myself to understand my motives. It was literally, why do you want to do that? Like, what are you going to get out of that? So if you call your friend to gossip about this other person, why is it that you want to gossip about them? Why is it that there's like a fire burning inside of you to tell another person's peril? Why are you so compelled to do that? And at first I didn't have any answers. At first you may not have any answers either, but eventually they'll reveal themselves to you. And one of the things I realized in reference to that was, because it feels good to know that someone else's life sucks as much as mine does. That was literally the realization I had years ago. And I was thinking, I was like, dang, that's really messed up. So it's almost like I'm reveling in another person's pain, because it's almost as if they were brought down a notch. So it's like, and that, what does that reveal to me more so? That in some sense or another, I had put this person on a pedestal above me, and I felt as if they were better than me. And to see them fall from grace just a little bought me gratification and then uplifted me, and I had to share this tarnishing of this person, or this perceived tarnishing of this person, with someone else, so that I could feel even more, temporarily grandiose, right? So those were the techniques that I used to unwind mindsets, right? Mindsets can be bondage, because again, like I said, they're mindsets, they're set proverbially in stone. And you want to adopt a state of being or a state of thought that's more fluid, which is what I can say, like going back to my horrible breakup in 2016. It's the fact that even then, when I thought that I was at a certain place, it was a certain glass ceiling I consistently implemented for myself. When I stood up from that space, everything that unfolded from within me from that moment was more fluidity in life. It was the fact that I no longer needed set things to make me feel safe or to make me feel comfortable, because I knew at the end of the day, everything in life is temporary. Nothing belongs to me. I'm only here for a temporary time, and to delude myself into believing anything other than that is a false sense of security. And that's what we would call non-attachment. It's when we can easily welcome and easily release things that, makes life more fulfilling. You know what I mean? It gives you the ability to feel more empowered. You have more of what's the word? I keep thinking of the Fool card. You have that motivation and that drive to take more risks. You know what I mean? Because you realize that at the end of it all, there's really nothing to fear. Because, you could lose money. So, more money comes. You could lose time. You ain't gonna get no more of that. But, if ever you feel like something was a waste of time, it really isn't. Because in everything, there's always a lesson. And that, in essence, is how Spirit always has you on the back end. No idea where I'm going with this, but hey, we're doing it. Next card. It is when the going gets tough that you so often forget who you are and the tools I have given you for creating the life that you choose. Wow. That's so real. And similar to what I was saying, it's like when that glass ceiling no longer exists, when you're no longer set in stone, there's a freedom for you to truly explore and be who and what you are. And the thing that's coming up now is people's opinions. It's the limitations of what you're expected to be that prevent you from being who you really are. You know what I mean? And then a lot of times, too, specifically with that card, it's a loss of faith. It's like when things get difficult, and that's something that I saw as a Christian as well, is, I knew lots of people who would quote scriptures and, would speak highly of God and salvation and things of the sort. But whenever crisis happened in their life, it's as if God did not even exist. And I never quite understood that. I was like, isn't this what we're supposed to need, God? It's like, it's kind of like now is kind of when I need you. Not when stuff is going good, like kind of like now. But it's like we have a tendency, and even in the spiritual community, we have a tendency to, it's easy to be attuned when things are going well, but it's like when we're thrown into the fire, suddenly it's like we go back to 3D. I feel a lesson that we're stepping into going into the next year is learning how to stand on our faith in a crisis, or to let that be the light in a crisis, so to speak. It's so interesting. Oh, the tools of creation are thought, word, and deed. Our thoughts, the words that we speak, and our actions are your tools of creation. Your free will, right? Your free will is like that construct or your power, that force, right? That you manifest into this realm via your thought, right? So that's the inception. So if you think of it like a baby, right? That's like it's fertilized there in the thought. The word is nothing more than sound, Words aren't anything. It's like there's sounds coming out of our mouth that we've attached meaning to. But from a spiritual perspective, words have so much power is because it's how you manifest heaven on earth, right? Because everything that exists beneath your flesh in essence is an aspect of heaven on earth, right? So your thoughts are an intangible, energetic thing going on here. When we take this concept and we infuse it into the sounds that are coming out of our mouth, it's how we birth our heaven into this realm and what we speak. That's why words have so much power. You know what I mean? And then thoughts still are that projectile, so to speak, of our actions as well, because we act in accordance to what we're thinking. So those are 3 tools of creation. Your choice is another tool that you have, the most powerful one. But that all begins with the thought, you know? Your speech and your actions are a byproduct of the thought. So again, it takes us back to the first card, that of which is the mind. That's why I talk so much about psychology and pathologies and things of the sort. It's the reason why I went to school for psychology in the first place. It's because I understood, I saw the synchronicity between spirituality and psychology. Knowing that, you know, the divine great mind, spirit, is all knowing, all knowledge, all intellect, right? I'm obsessed with learning and knowledge and books and things of the sort because I know that everything that's created in any discipline, the true source of each and every discipline, whether it's sociology, psychology, biology, all the ologies, they have a common source, that of which is the divine mind of spirit, you know, the collective unconscious, you know, the zeitgeist, if you will, you know, every person who has ever lived is tapped into this, and it's things that we're still tapping into now. Anyone who comes into this realm, it's like once they transition, every frequency they attune to, whether it be Tesla or Einstein, any person in body now has the ability to attune to the frequency that they received their intel from, right? So it's more or less a theme of 2019 is gaining dominion over your tools. It's understanding that, like, your free will makes you gods, so to speak. It gives you the ability to create just as your creator creates, being made in the image and likeness of the all. You know what I'm saying? So it's going into 2019 with this perception, not from an egoic sense that you're a god, but from an inner power sense of understanding just how much dominion that you truly have over your experience, and how in every moment, whether you're aware of it or not, you're co-creating your life, right? But the importance of all of this, like even me saying, like, the reason why I went to school for psychology was to get those tangible, practical action steps with the spiritual wisdom and knowledge I knew, and to take something that was very secular, that was very devoid of spirit, and to birth spirit into something that was, you know, from a spiritual perspective, dead, you know? Because even psychology has its own limitations. Until you get into transpersonal psychology, that's more or less where spirit and psychology are married. But prior to that, it's like there's limitations. It's, you can heal the mind. You can be mentally stable, but you can still be emotionally unstable, right? Because those are 2 different facets. Your intellect, your mind, your thoughts, that's completely different than your emotions. That's more energetic. You know what I mean? Those are different frequencies that come and go. So what 2019 is really about is coming into the awareness of the power that you possess and learning how to wield that power. And this is so funny how all my readings are coming full circle right now. So like when I talked about in one of the readings about the iPhone and about screen addiction being big talk in the counseling community. And I said that Steve Jobs, gotta say it again, rest in peace to the homie. But he created the iPhone, or any person who creates technology or any technological advancement. The purpose of it is to be in service to humanity. But with the whole screen addiction epidemic, we are now becoming servants of them. You know what I mean? It's what is life without social media? Every 5 minutes I need to check my phone type of deal. And that's when you get into like the devil card energy, where you become in bondage to something that should be in service to you, right? So when we think about this with our tools of creation, thought, word, and deed, or thoughts, words, and actions, right? When we think about our grounds, or fertile ground to which we can plant things that will manifest the proper fruit in our life, being our minds, it's coming into the awareness that these are tools that are at your little God, like little G God, you know, tools that are at your disposal. But in 2018, we felt at the will to these things. We felt in bondage and in service to our thoughts. We felt in bondage to and in service to our feelings, right? And in 2019, I really feel, as crazy as it sounds, some of us, all of us probably, are just going to wake up and something's going to click tomorrow. You know what I mean? And you'll see the truth in what I'm saying. Because it's all a thing of perception. If you've never been told that you were supposed to have dominion over your thoughts and feelings, you would never know that you were supposed to, or that you were allowed to even. Because everything that we've been conditioned to believe is in an oppositional stance than what the truth is. All of our conditioning has conditioned us to be in a submitted place to the self, to others, to life in general. That's how we feel that life is happening to us and not for us. So 2019 is really a year. I've said a great deal about abundance, but the abundance is merely a byproduct of the power. It's you taking your true place. It's you standing in your true power. And it's you drawing all of the things that are owed to you by your birthright. And I'm speaking energetically here. All of the things that are owed to you by birthright. With you being, you know, the divine child of the divine, all-knowing, all-seeing, all-being. With you being that, it's you taking your rightful place. Because each and every one of you are, and this is, you know, an analogy, but you're princes and princesses. But you've mistakenly thought you were paupers and have been living as so. But all of that is about to change. Dope Soul Collective. I wonder how many of y'all are still with me right now. Because I'm just talking. I'm literally just talking. Okay, Spirit, what's going on here? What's going on? I'm going to have to go back and watch this because I have literally no idea what I just said. That's Princess just snapping back like, hey, so here I am. All right, first card we have is the initiation, rite of passage. You're going somewhere sacred. Indeed you are, my dear. Indeed you are. Just dance. Do something to shift your vibration. That's something really important. The initiation is the fact that everyone in the collective is, and rite of passage is such the right word. If you think about like secret societies and stuff like that, and how you have to go through different little rituals and stuff like that before you are a full member, you know, when you're just an initiate and things of the sort. This is more or less like all of the trials and tribulations that you've seen in 2018 have been rites of passage. Those of us who were resilient and were able to stay positive in the face of probably some of the most disastrous things that we've seen in our lifetimes, so to speak. And then I mean that, you know, micro level in your life to macro level, like globally, just disasters that we've seen this year. The key is gaining dominion over them through transmuting those energies, right? So it's combating darkness with light. So a lot like you see here. It's like if you imagine like this entire part being closed off, and this is more often than not the situations that we find ourselves into, and I don't know what this card is, but I feel like it's relevant. Unbound, releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. Absolutely. It's releasing yourself from the stuff that you didn't think that you could get released from, or that you thought you had to go through some hard ritualistic stuff to get rid of. But anyway, back to my analogy. So anywho, it kind of looks like this too. It's like, oh no, it's darkness, right? So whenever negative vibes that manifest as self-defeating thoughts, negative thoughts about yourself or others, when you feel a place in life where you're stuck and things seem bleak and it's never going to get better and so on and so forth, and things are looking like this, is to begin to transmute that energy by fixating on the light, on a time and space different than this, or to combat darkness with light in the sense of speaking truth to the situation. That's why I've been talking a great deal about like the universal laws and the laws of karma, or I mean even scriptures too. It's like whenever something comes up that you know is of a lower vibration, you combat it with the opposing force. You know what I mean? And speak truths about the self. Right? And that's just something as simple as putting things into the category of, is this love or is this fear? Which place am I operating from? Which place am I thinking from? You know what I mean? Soul family, calling your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. No, dope soul collective, you sure don't. That's something that's going to be manifest as well. Something I feel compelled to say about your partnerships. People that, if you think about your ideal soul tribe, when you're dating people, right? Someone you want to spend your life with, how much do they align with you and your tribe? Could you see them being a member of the tribe? Do you think that you would have met them at a tribe gathering when you're thinking about future partners? Would they have been hanging with the tribe? Would the tribe vibe with them? Are they not about that tribe life? The three cards that fell out are birthing a new age, birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being, raising the collective consciousness and whatnot or whatever, little light worker. Council of Light, divine orchestration, helpers in subtle realms. You're always freaking supported, and never forget it. That is going to change your life when you stop forgetting it. Sisterhood of the Rose, beauty and devotion, priestess, mystic, and teacher. As I said, so many of you are stepping into your callings this year. You know what I'm saying? Everything is coming into alignment. These are just mere tools on your journey. Oh gosh, with these words that I can't say. Pleiades, double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. Allowing yourself to be the mouthpiece of spirit to speak life into your brethren and sisterin. I just made that word up. The crumbling. What are you clinging to? What things, what mindsets, what glass ceilings are you holding on to? Don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? Don't ever do that. It's your differences that make you beautiful, that make you unique. Even if you are the black sheep of your family, you were set apart for a reason. More often than not, now I got to speak to another group of people. If you are the black sheep of your family, if you sometimes look at them and you wonder to yourself, how the heck did I come from these people? I have nothing in common with them. That's for good reason. because you are the one who came to, and this is going to sound really heavy, but deliver and set your family free. It's like you're the catalyst to purify your bloodline, so to speak. And I know that sounds so heavy, but it's real nonetheless. Yes. Just say yes. If there's anything that you were questioning. I look at this as saying yes to yourself. Saying yes to everything you've ever been afraid to say yes to. Everything that you've said no to before, without reason and within reason. To say yes to it. Say yes to a new life. Say yes to miracles. Say yes to your dreams coming true. Saying yes to 2019 actually being a year that will forever alter the course of your life. It's going into this year with a spirit of expectancy. If you go into this year with a spirit of expecting only the best and a completely different experience, not one that's devoid of challenges or disappointments, but putting them within a framework of understanding them, is grounding yourself in truth. Transformation. Theme of the year. Things are changing at a cellular level, deep healing. As long as you have your mind set on where it is that you're trying to go, which is ascension. It's the only set that you should have. It's like spirit takes care of so much on the back end if you're in alignment. If you're in the right place at the right time, which is within myself at all times, right? In alignment, in flow. It's like you're always going to be co-creating from the right place. If you're always rechecking yourself and ensuring that the well or the source that you're creating from is love. That's how you manifest the life of your dreams. But you first have to believe that that is possible. First have to believe that it's possible. Now we're going to descend into something a tad bit more practical. Something I realized with love relationships and why they're so important is because it's the ideal training ground. It's not hard to get people into romantic connections or relationship connections. Why? Because everybody wants one. Everybody wants one. But it's the ideal place for spirit to introduce you to a catalyst. A person who can act as sandpaper to mold you and shape you into who it is that you agreed to being in this particular life. And I mean, not for good reason. I think it's kind of funny sometimes because if we could, instantaneously just like get a glimpse of, like a peekaboo at like the contracts that we agreed to before we came. It's like, I think we would laugh hysterically at ourselves in so many words. But it's the fact that once you descend into like, matter, human form and all of that stuff, the contracts that we made are still etched into our souls, but it's the experiences that we have that remind us of who we are. And we can remember to the collective proverbial body, if you will. And I think it's the misunderstanding that we have of these experiences that we have. We assume as if, life is trying to tell us that, oh, you're destined for all of these horrendous things, but that's not true because there would be no purpose in that. There would be no purpose in like, oh, my life is just supposed to suck. So life is just trying to tell me how much I suck and how much I deserve for my life to suck. No, not at all. When we start to view our experiences from a higher perspective, keeping an open mind. Your soulmate may differ from your usual type, by the way. But when we perceive it from a different mindset, more from one that views everything as being in service to us, as opposed to being in opposition to us, that's when we revolutionize our experience. My mom was texting me, sorry. That's when we start to revolutionize our experience, when we start to see things from that higher perspective and more from the situations that we encounter being in service to us as opposed to being in opposition to us. And as I was saying with relationships, it's the ideal training ground to mold us and shape us into who we need to be. Because it's a range of emotions that you feel in the quest to love another. And also learn that it was never about the other, you know? But it's almost like a trap we continuously fall in. But I think if you look back at every relationship you had over 2018, or even over the course of your life, like I said, for me, going all the way back to 2016, you see how the biggest or greatest disappointments and heartaches that you've encountered have been major catalysts for your change. That's why I love doing love readings. That's why I love counseling married people. You know what I mean? It's just so fascinating how such of an intimate relationship just unlocks facets of oneself that we never knew existed, you know? Alrighty. Soulmate talk. Might as well say twin flame talk. It's a collective, whatever. We have the Two of Pentacles. We have the Knight of Wands. We have the Lovers. Oh, Spirit, you're so amazing. A balance needs to be found going into the new year. Or it will be. I think you spent most of 2018 trying to get yourself together in preparation for this person that you guys have been praying for, hoping for, affirmating for. That's not a word. It doesn't even sound nice. But anyway, but the key is to not get stuck in a mindset when it comes to this person. Don't get set in a mindset about this person, right? It's keeping your mind open. It's more or less, and this is going to sound crazy, but if you were to close your eyes and interact with this person with your eyes closed, it's about discerning their essence. It's sensing their soul. It's knowing them on a level much deeper than what the external has to provide. And the easiest way to, and I don't know how this is going to come out because it's just coming to me. The easiest way to discern an ideal mate is to first know the self. Because if you know the self, then you know the self in the other. That explains all three of these cards. Now my brain needs to catch up to that. But in so many words, it's me taking a stance. It's me weighing options, deciding who and what I want to be. How do I want to show up? And it's making that decision to show up. The moment that I make that decision to show up in this specific way or frequency, whatever you want to call it, then instantly spirit like matches me like my 401k. Whatever you put in, we match it. It's like an energetic 401k. Hashtag no retirement because this goes on forever. Hashtag twin flame. Okay, sorry, I'm going to stop now. So anyway, so when you make the decision, and kind of like my example from 2016, the first step that I took was a step as a new being, and a new path began to unfold for me. This is the same thing that's happening for you guys. It's keeping an open mind in the sense of non-attachment. And the fact of never worrying about who, what, when, or where, or how, because you just know it's going to be, you know? When we think about twin flamey connections and things of the sort, twin flame connections are experienced from a place of power, not being at the will of it. of course, humanity steps in and there's a yearning and there's a desire and there's a missing and things of the sort. But it's always tapping back into that higher mind of understanding what all of this is about. It's knowing that it's not just about your personal gratification and just having your needs met. It's the fact that this union is just as important to you as it is to your twin, as it is to spirit, right? So it's never a thing of begging and pleading, spirit, please, 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 let him call me. It's never about that. Because if it is to be, it has to be. And it has to be not just for me, not just for you, not just for them, but because it's bigger than us. It's like the purpose of the twin flame union, beyond us having the other and being able to do googly eyes and kissy faces and things of the sort, is a divine mission that both of you are going to exact together in unison for the benefit of the collective. That's what the bigger purpose of all of this is. So when you think about your vested interest or your twin's vested interest, always know that there's a higher vested interest. There's no need to worry or to lose sleep or to be anxious or depressed, because none of these emotions are higher vibrational emotions. They're all lower vibrational emotions, those that are of fear and of bondage. But where I see this as, you know how they say it's like weighing your options? This is a symbol to me of double-mindedness. How it is that one can be double-minded in a twin union is in the fact that one is contradicting the self by saying that I'm in a twin union, but undermining that by descending into 3D worries about an ethereal, eternal thing. You know what I mean? It's to fear not being when you always are, energetically. The grief only comes in the fact of it not manifesting in the physical realm, right? But if we attune back to the higher purpose of it, whether you are together or in separation, you're speaking or you're not, if both of you are doing what it is that you're ordained to do, because we don't really have the say to say when a person is in alignment or not. It's really only something that we can really say, Because in the bigger scheme of things, even things seemingly dark could truly be agents of the light. It's all about a matter of perception. That's like the Papa Legba figure in, Yoruba and Orishas and things of the sort, of him being the trickster and helping everyone inadvertently. Not so much the American Horror Story side with the cocaine snorting and, stealing infant souls. And okay, I'm just going to move on. But anyway, but it's understanding that it's bigger than that. It's the fact that whether it seems to be, in an energetic sense, it's all working out for the higher good. So if we go back to breakups, my heartbreak was the greatest thing to ever happen to me. The worst day of my life was the absolute best day of my life, because it's ultimately what brought me to you. That heartbreak is what began my path to YouTube. It's what motivated me even more so to take on my calling, which was something I think I was lagging on and riddled with self-doubt about at one point in time. So that's how the best day can become the worst day. And then for you guys, it's a healing of the double-mindedness, in the sense of understanding or reattuning to the higher truth about this whole thing. What all of this is about. You know what I mean? That it's bigger than us. The desire to come into union isn't really so much about our selfish gain and how we benefit from it. And this is making me think of Taurus's reading, and I'm so thankful for that reading right now. I don't care if you have Taurus in your chart or not, watch the Taurus reading, because the whole twin flame debacle with Taurus's introduction to it and whatnot, really good explanation in there. But it's in the fact that, like I said, this whole sandpaper thing that happens, that's what's happening in Taurus's reading. But it's like, you know, Taurus is sitting in their power, and how they are doing nothing and accomplishing everything are those themes of how this union plays out. But I think because in 2018 we were in that submitted, oppressed mindset, is where that misinterpretation was coming through, of it thinking that it's an actual cat and mouse game, which is pointless, really, because when we talk about, like what I was saying before, is like high vibrational feelings, it's like spirit wouldn't do that. There would be no benefit in that, to assign you to a union that brings you into misery, peril, and woe, to descend you down into low vibrational feelings, but yet expect you to send light to the world. How on earth could you possibly give light into others if you're spending your time behind the scenes in the darkness of grief, of loss, repeatedly? You know what I mean? So it's more or less picking a side. In 2018, many twins straddled the fence of being in the light, then the dark, the light, then the dark, the light, then the dark. But it's making the decision, and it's not so much a mental decision. It's like the light switch going off. Going into 19, you are and will stand in the light continuously. You will stand in love vibration. That will be the foundation from which everything springs forth. That will be the well from which you operate. That step that you take in that direction of the light then brings in spirit. It brings in this creative opportunity. It instantaneously creates union within you. You know what I mean? It's you standing in that power, sitting upon your throne with the framework that was created in Taurus's reading. And like I say, it's a twin flame reading, so regardless of what your sign is, you're going to resonate with it anyway. But it's showing you, Taurus's reading is more or less showing you what you guys sitting in your seat of power, self-love, and self-respect, self-honor looks like. And in that moment, it creates that instant barricade, that instant boundary line, to where the crumbs that your twin brings to you, if they try, it'll be looking at them and saying, that's cute. Back to my divine mission and the more important things that I'm worried about. You know what I mean? It's you seating in your power, and every time they're now drawn close, because we know it's the runner chaser. They can run all day. It'll no longer affect you. They can ghost all day. It will no longer affect you, because you're attuned to the knowingness that it's so much bigger than this. And whenever you're ready to step up and realize that, and you can do that, and we're good, right? But I say this as humorous thoughts, but really seating in your power as all of this is happening, you may or may not be aware, because I likened it to like a fly or a mosquito, like, oh my gosh, what do you want? I'm sitting here trying to be great. What do you want? What are you doing? Oh, you're doing that again? Okay, great. I also said it's the equivalent of like the 3D you, your higher self and their higher self, talking about them when they're not there. It's like they're still doing that. Oh, that's so cute. That's funny. Like, so they're, oh, that's cute. Like, we legit talk about you when you're not here. Because you're not here. Because you're in 3D. So have fun with that. You know what I mean? So it's you guys really standing in a place of power, and it's drawing your twin in. And this is where y'all just got to watch the Taurus reading. But it's really about all of those themes that we hear. And it's now understanding this from an energetic perspective of how you just being who you are is what changes them. It's not about you preaching to them. It's not about you modeling for them. It's not about you, sending Deepak Chopra MP3s to them. It's not about any of that. It's just you being who you are, being in your God space. And every time they come into your space, because you are reflecting truth to them, it forces them to have to constantly face their lie. And it becomes harder and harder to do as time goes on. And you inadvertently set them free and deliver them by only showing them truth. Right? So it's the end of double-mindedness, and it's the beginning of union with yourself. And spirit working with you with this. Because like I said, you see like the little angel here in Adam and Eve. Spirit has a vested interest in this union being a union. But it's more or less a need to ascend to the higher understanding of this, as opposed to the 3D cat and mouse of this. You know what I mean? And I think that's why a great deal of all of us are stepping into that purposeful divine calling and mission, because that is going to be, and I'm not saying this in totality of like, oh my gosh, you're going to be alone and never date or meet anyone. I'm not saying that. But I mean, it's going to be a healing supplement for the void you were trying to fill with hoping this person came back. It's more or less spirit giving you the power to have something that is within your control, something that's not going to constantly run away, that is going to give you instantaneous return on investment and help you grow and heal at the same time. Because as I tell you guys all the time, for me, it's like reading for you guys or even counseling people. It's like I feel I'm being student teacher simultaneously, because although I have a knowledge base I'm able to share to help you grow, hearing your life experience helps me grow, because it gives me a deeper facet of something I may not have experienced that could then be helpful for someone else, and thus the gift that keeps on giving, you know? I don't know if y'all still here. If you still are, kudos to you, because it's almost an hour. It's New Year's in New York right now. So we have the 10 of Cups, we have the 10 of Wands, and we have the 9 of Wands. Tens, and a 9. Man. Completion, and new cycles. Gone are the days of the yearning. New are the days of unions, you know, of fulfillment and nurturing. Soon enough, what will be seen from your counterpart is they spent many years, many lifetimes running, but could never go quite far. And the only thing that you've ever wanted to do was to nurture them, was to more or less give them life. But they needed to find it in themselves first, right? And I said that in something else that I posted, I think the last little twin thing that I did. But it's in they're choosing them. It's in them seeing them that they eventually see you. And they realize that the true mirror effect, the true reflection that was happening, was never them running from you, but it was always them running from themselves, because you have always been them and they you. So it was never you that they were rejecting. It was always themselves. That's what I talk about when I say like the subconscious projection into our experiences in life. If long ago I rejected my authentic self, then I will continuously relive that rejection of myself, but not as myself, as rejecting myself and others. That is the reason why your twin always gravitates to the wrong people, because they're gravitating to people who are a reflection of their false self. They repel the people who are in alignment with the true self, because they view your truth, their truth, as bad, ugly, dirty, wrong. That's what I meant when I talked about the wounded inner child that was shrouded in guilt and shame and pushed into the corner, never talked about, never discussed. You know what I mean? It's like that's what it is that is being seen with you to them. That's what's being seen between you two. And it's, like I said, that chiseling effect that happens every time they're coming into your space and they see you seated in your power. Every time they see you in your highest self, no longer fazed with the cat and mouse games, it forces them to come to a place within themselves where they have to finally confront like their truth, their experience. They're seeing, or almost a slow unfolding, because I'm speeding it up, but the truth of it is that it's really this is a process. I'm saying it quickly. I wish all of that would happen in a day, but this is more or less a slow unwinding, so to speak. It's them coming into union with self and then being able to unify with you. It's them finally being able to see their truth and then seeing that you've always been the truth without you ever having to do a thing or lift a finger or force yourself to exist in this space of grieving. You know what I mean? So in 2019, we're going into a space of where we're no longer grieving. It's no more grievances that are happening, right? Because all of our experience has been put into perspective. It's like, I get it now. So it's no longer having to hold yourself prisoner to these mind sets of what it is we thought this experience was about. It's no longer dabbling back and forth between this light and dark of attuning to a light, higher vibrational concept such as the twin flame journey, but interpreting it through very low vibrational 3D means. You know what I mean? It's now seeing it, understanding it, and attuning to it. And I can assure you that it speeds up the process, right? Matter works a lot slower than energy does. I mean, even though it's energy in essence, but I mean like energy free of matter. It's like omnipresent and all that other kind of good stuff. But yeah. So that's all I got. I hope that made sense. I don't know if it did. I have no idea what I said. If you stayed here for the whole hour and listened to me, I'm thankful for you. You know? I'm thankful that you listened to this. I more or less feel that this is going to fall on everyone differently. Aside from the mumbo jumbo that I feel like I said. I feel like for you guys, each person that listens to this is going to hear it differently. Is going to hear different pieces of this, or different pieces are going to stand out. But I have no idea what I just said. I'm just being for real. I have no idea what I just said. Well, you're overlooking some important details, so pay closer attention to what's going on. Just saying. Just saying, dagnabbit son of a gun. And this isn't spirit telling me to do this. I just want to do this because I freaking love my deck so much. Just saying. But since we co-create in spirit, give me a card to close out the last collective dope soul reading of 2018. I don't know if you guys can hear my son and his friends screaming at the Xbox. Like, you know, their voices are changing, and you know when boys' voices are changing, and when they scream loud, it goes to like that high pitch banshee scream thing. That's what's happening. So it sounds, I hate to say it that way, but I always have to catch myself because it scares me, because it sounds like little girls that are screaming bloody murder, and then I'm like, oh, it's the Xbox. Let's go! Let's go! They're playing Fortnite. The game makes my nerves bad. Whoa. So long as you entertain the notion that there is something or someone else out there doing it to you, you disempower yourself to do anything about it. Only when you say, I did this, can you find the power to change it. Dang it, son of a gun. Let me just read that one more time. So long as you entertain the notion that there is something or someone else out there doing it to you, you disempower yourself to do anything about it. Only when you say, I did this, can you find the power to change it. Take your power back, dead nabbit son of a gun, dope soul collective. You shall be regal in 2019, I say. For some of you, it's already 2019. But I love you guys' faces. And I'm going to go back to Mi Familia and whatnot. Bring in the new year and finish, doing you guys love readings. But they always say, how you spend your New Year's Eve is how you will spend your year. And it would be a blessing to me if I could spend the rest of this year speaking truth, love, and light into your lives. Thank you guys for this year. Thank you for your subscriptions. Thank you for your support, your comments, your likes, your love, your emails, your reading orders, even though my readings won't be back open for a while. But thank you for everything. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your energy with me. Thank you for making 2018 one of the most amazing years of my life. Thank you for vibing with me, connecting with me, all of that. And I feel from this moment forward, things are only going to get better from here for all of us in a collective sense. I really feel that the things that you will begin to experience this year are going to be unlike anything you've ever experienced in your life. In very, very unimaginable ways, shocking ways even. But of course, like I always say, life has its challenges. But the power you have this year is your perception. And you knowing that there's no need to overcome the world when it's already overcome. Every single one of your challenges and obstacles have a solution in source. And as long as you keep that in mind, a challenge is nothing more than a mosquito bite while you're eating crawfish. Okay, that was a NOLA reference. Not everyone's going to get that. But I love your face. And I'll see you guys next year. Happy New Year. Deuces.